into the ring, the bell's about to chime. TurnBuckle Talk, we're here to shine. Flagship on the airways, leading the pack. Breaking news, reviews, we've got your back. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. TurnBuckle Talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat. From AEW to WWE, we cover it all from A to Z. Interviews, insights, and match reviews. If it's wrestling news, we got the clues. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. TurnBuckle Talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat.
WWE NXT is heading north of the border. For the first time since 2019, NXT is bringing a 3-night tour set for this October. 3 Canadian cities will play host to some of NXT's rising stars, and we've got all the details, where they're headed, and what fans can expect. WWE NXT returns to Canada. Chris Best and OMD here. Plus, we've got one special guest with us, one of the voices behind the Hitting the Marks podcast, the one, the only RBV. RBV, glad to have you on the show again. How are you doing?
Hey, it's me. It's that art of the B to V. Richard Bronson Vickery. Absolutely honored to be back with the Turnbuckle crew, my favorite Canadian crew, the Chris Best in the world, and OMD. Hey, OMG, I can't believe I'm back here with you guys, man. I'm looking forward to an awesome run here, some great topics. I think we're going to have a lot of fun just deep diving into this.
Yeah, we've got quite the stories there. OMD, sorry, I was interrupting you.
It's always a pleasure to have you here, RBV. It has been way too long, my friend. So thank you for stopping in, coming in to lend us your knowledge and your expertise tonight.
Absolutely, Best. I know we got a lot to talk about, a little time to do it in, brother. So I know really enough about me. Hopefully I can just get to know a little bit about me as we're going through this hot topic list that you got here, man.
Oh yeah, these stories are just a little bit unreal here, guys. And we're going to start off with one of the more shocking stories that kind of just came out of left field there just a couple days ago. But ESPN Unlimited is going to be raising its prices. Sports fans are about to be paying a little more for ESPN. Beginning September 17th, ESPN Unlimited will increase from $29.99 per month to $31.99 per month, while the annual subscription jumps from $299.99 to $319.99. ESPN Select is also increasing, going from $12.99 to $13.99 per month. The increases come just over a year after ESPN launched its direct-to-consumer service. With WWE Premium Live events now part of ESPN's lineup, wrestling fans who subscribe directly will be among those who are feeling the increase here. And this, I hate to say this, but for me personally, this kind of sucks. What do you guys think?
But you go ahead, OMD, jump in there.
I mean, again, like we discussed this when WWE and the PLEs were announced to be, not included in the price that people are paying for the ESPN app. It was an additional charge. Now you've got to pay more for the monthly subscription. I do hope that the PLEs are now being included as part of that package. As you got to give what you get. You spend money to make money. But I'm really not surprised because we see this with every streaming service almost annually.
Yeah. RBV, what are your thoughts on this?
Best, one of the things that I'm glad that the way that you worded there, I think it absolutely is something that we're overlooking as professional wrestling fans. Sometimes we kind of, we put ourselves on a pedestal. We think that maybe we're a little too important in the bigger picture, the bigger scope of things here. And as you said, sports fans, are getting ready to pay a little bit more for access to this ESPN Plus and their subscription service. Because let's be frank, really what this is they feel justified, they feel comfortable, and that they will not see too much of a backlash here. Because what are we getting ready for, gentlemen? We were just talking about it, before we hit live here. It is football season, and ESPN has ponied up some major dollars for the NFL network, which means they are going to have maximum content available for their subscribers. So they're hoping that people are going to, because it is. I mean, the NFL is absolutely insane. I know you guys are north of the border, but you're here in North America, and now globally. I mean, the NFL is the most financially successful professional sports league in the world. Now, some people will be like, "Oh, soccer's more popular." Financially successful sports league in the world. They are so dominant in everything that they do. And again, ESPN has ponied up some big time payola to carry that product. Unfortunately, though, yes, for professional wrestling fans, I would love to see a statistic out there if they could. I know they have these numbers. I know they'd run these polls to see the diversity. What are people sampling essentially off of this a la carte menu that is ESPN Plus? Because they also have WNBA coverage, they have rugby, they have golf, they have a multitude of other MLB is involved inside of that realm. So how many people are sampling from the buffet, or are there individuals just tuning in to get one slice of that pie? And how many of those are just for professional wrestling? For you guys, though, Bess, you said you were kind of disappointed by this. Do you use this service, or are you guys on the Netflix international distribution?
So ESPN Unlimited is not available here in Canada, but I'm looking at this from a person from where my personal financial standpoint is. I'm a low income person, but I do enjoy my sports. It's pretty much the only thing I watch on TV these days that isn't streaming off of Netflix or Disney Plus. I'm looking at that price, and I'm like, it's really not that bad of a price, because I do watch NFL, I watch MLB, I watch the NHL. Those are the three leagues I mostly stick to watching. The price increase, I'm looking at that, and my grandmother is in my head saying, that $2 increase, that's a loaf of bread. So
yeah,
that's what my brain is wrapping around with it there.
I would really like to see ESPN, as they're announcing this and just assuming that most people will pay up for this thing. I would like to see more content maybe from WWE. So if I am largely, maybe that's the only thing that I am purchasing this for, or maybe it is towards the top of the list of the things I like about the app, then I would like to see WWE step up. I would love to see, like right now, we got a great program going on with Kevin Owens and CM Punk. Up north there, that Toronto crowd was hot for it. Obviously, Kevin Owens with the tie and all that. But they've got over a decade of history that WWE just assumes that we are going to know about, that all their fans are going to know about it. I mean, it's out there, some of that stuff. They have access to it. Why can't WWE get together with Omaha, that production company, Peyton Manning's company that did Unreal, and create us something similar to like the ESPN 30 for 30s, but for like wrestling feuds,
right?
And then run those on the app or something. So there's extra additional content that's getting us to buy into the product that looks and feels much more like the other professional sports content that we're seeing on the app. I would love to see something that could justify, that could get people excited, say, you know what, maybe I will pay that. Maybe that extra $2 is okay with that. But I really, man, I am envious of the international crowd that gets everything just in one nice little package on that Netflix. We're here in the States. I mean, we have to have, if you want to watch every bit of WWE content, you seriously need access to 4 or 5 different services or distribution platforms.
Yeah. We are on the Netflix International. So yeah, we get that whole lump sum. We get what was the WWE network all on Netflix. And that was initially all I signed up for Netflix for. Was I didn't have any interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I love it. I will go through it. Gives me something to do on a Thursday or Friday evening at work when it's quiet and there's nobody there from 6 until 8. So it's there, and I've got that smorgasbord, not to mention all of the content on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's
So
out there.
I go through YouTube TV. Here's another point with this ESPN app. So they finally have got this figured out where I go through YouTube TV. That's where I get my NFL. It has the NFL ticket. So I anchor down on Sundays. So I get me a giant sub from Jersey Mike's or Pizza Wings, something like that. Sit at the table, look at the big screen up here. And they got that multi-channel. So I can put all, 4 games on at one time. I'm set for the day. I don't miss any games on Sunday. I also got Paramount to watch the Thursday night game. YouTube TV gives me ESPN, national networks. So I don't miss any beat when it comes to NFL, right next to wrestling, my favorite sport there. But as you said, Netflix, I got it for Raw. And then I'm starting to get Unreal a little bit, slowly warming up to it. And I watched one other thing there. But to my point, though, with the ESPN app, immediately they had promised, like, if you already have an ESPN subscription, you should be able to link into this thing. Well, it took dang near a year to get that figured out. But even now they got figured out, have you guys ever built a rocket? Because I assume it is easier than it is to link my account to this ESPN app to get signed up for that.
Right.
Even just to sign up for the ESPN Plus account. I love how they show it on SmackDown. R-Truth explaining it. It literally is like one of the longest segments because it's so complicated. They need to simplify that as well. If you want our money, simplify how we can sign up for it.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I love where you hit the nail on the head there, RBB. Give us some original content. I love as soon as you said 30 for 30, I'm like, because the way I catch those shows is on YouTube. I would love if they did that with the WWE and they did like a 30 for 30, not just on like Punk and Kevin Owens, maybe even on some like historical feuds and all that, like Rock Austin. Right. All that kind of stuff. I would love to see that. You're onto something there for sure.
Well, I know they got that rivalry show that they run on A&E and all that. But,
yeah.
Bring it, like put more of that crisp feel for that 30 and 30 where it feels like it actually belongs. I guess that's another thing with a lot of wrestling fans, because I know the rumor was immediately today we saw inside sources, ESPN's not happy. They're going to try to get it. We still got 4 years on this deal. Yeah. And they're talking about this. And I guess both things can be true. I mean, they could be they don't want to terminate, but they might not be as happy. They might think that they should be getting more of a return on investment here with it. So to me, more content that looks and feels like that. Let me ask you just real quick, gentlemen, and I'll let you go on with the best. But do you guys feel that WWE and ESPN, does WWE fit into the ESPN universe right now to you guys?
For me, no. No, I think that when they did Netflix, it should have been global, US included. I think that everybody should have the same unfettered access that we have here. I mean, you have USA Network for SmackDown, CW for NXT.
Right.
You've got to go to YouTube. You've got the ESPN app. Netflix should just do it all. And even before that, I was saying, they should go to Prime, because then you've got Amazon for shipping.
That's an interesting. You can link that with your merchandise and all that.
Yeah. And speaking of merchant, dude, I'm trying to wrap it up here. And speaking of merchandise, guys, we got a shop to take a look at. So here we go.
The TurnBuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, TurnbuckleStudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle affiliation program, and we ask that you please check out our shop. It is powered by Redbubble.com and is 100% safe and secure. Support your favorite shows and your favorite podcasters. Wear what we wear. All of the proceeds come back into our studios to bring you a better experience. And when you make that purchase, tag us on the socials, send us a pic, and we will shout you out live on air during one or more of our weekly programs. All of that and more, TurnbuckleStudios.org.
Awesome. And now we got some news on John Cena. There's been a tentative date for the John Cena Classic. We may finally actually have that date for this inaugural tournament. According to a report from False Finish, WWE is looking at Saturday, December 12th for the tournament. Although the date has not been officially announced and could still change, the timing would be fitting considering December 13th will mark exactly 1 year since John Cena wrestled his final match. The John Cena Classic was announced by Cena at Backlash in May and is expected to feature talent from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. But for now, December 12th is that date. And I'm looking forward to this tournament. I'm looking forward to that main roster versus NXT thing. I'm thinking about all the stars that hopefully will not be called up by the time December rolls around, who will be a part of the show. OMD, give us your thoughts on this possible date, and does it make sense to you?
The date absolutely makes sense to me. This tournament, and I know I am a huge proponent of going back to a one-night tournament to crown this champion, but we've gotten so used to having this stuff spread out over multiple weeks and even months that you could start this in September and build to your finals December 12th.
RBV, your thoughts?
Hey, real quick, want to give a shout out to over in the chat joining us, Sarah. She's been following Hitting the Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast since we went live back in 2017. She's been a fan of our show. Shout out to her. She asked what I was doing here tonight, so it's going to be with you guys, and she's joining us. So a big shout out. Thank you, Sarah, for tuning in to Turnbuckle. Make sure you give them a like. Make sure you share all their content. Follow it all here. Hey, I absolutely love this concept. I know a lot of fans kind of ridiculed it when we first announced it. We didn't really have, it was very vague announcement. We didn't have a lot of details, and they were really thrown for a loop when they said, it was going to be kind of fan interaction, maybe fan voting to decide who wins, who moves on. So we still got to learn how that's going to work out, what really is in store. But at least now we have a date. The wheels are in motion here. But as John Cena says, this tournament, this event is about giving back and showcasing the future, much like he had an opportunity that came out of nowhere. And you look at the supernova that it ignited, that became John Cena. How many decades, that he was the face that ran a place? Truly, probably one of the only few superstars that are truly over, like in a mainstream sense. Hey, I am bagging WWE. John Cena, you're also known, not just the man for the future, but that loved the fans, for better or worse. It was just about, did you get the reaction? We hate Cena, go John Cena, whatever the case might be. Let's take this right here. I am not for spreading this out. Big bang for the buck event. Let's make it an extravaganza, an entire weekend.
Yeah.
Have this in tremendous family destination locations. I love that it's in that December. Maybe can we get it more towards school breaks where travel is available for these families?
Yeah.
Take it beyond just a tournament, just a one-night show. Again, make it that weekend. The John Cena All-Star Extravaganza. And kind of sample what we see from other professional leagues with their all-star weekends. I want over-the-top fan involvement. I want the fan fest, much like you see at WrestleMania. But the kicker here is, we were just talking about pricing fans out of the ESPN app. The kicker here is this has to be affordable for most families to get to. We're not talking about just to take a family of 4 to a wrestling event like WrestleMania where you're spending $2,500+ This has to be family friendly, highly interactive, embody everything that you preach to us for all these decades that John Cena is, and make it something truly special, especially in that last quarter for the company when they're trying to make up for just a down period or anything that they maybe fell short on throughout the year.
Yeah, and that's the beauty, I think, with this, with your idea of the event, John, RBV, is that we're at an age right now where John Cena's fans growing up now have kids. So now these kids can bring John Cena or bring them to this John Cena Classic. They can let the kids know who John Cena was, what he did, and they could do like a historical perspective on him during the weekend as well.
But I'll bring in other legends. Make it like a mini Mania that isn't going to just drain your bank account. You can still have the Mania for the hardcore, as Tony Khan would call, the sickos and all that. But this is for that family. that wants to get out and have a big event experience like that, and have them in fun places that people want to travel to, and during that time of year.
And this is where I would bring in, like you mentioned, legends. Bring in the legends that John Cena worked. As far as we know, I believe Adam Copeland's contract might be coming up pretty soon. Bring him in if that's possible. Bring in Kurt Angle, who got John Cena his start on the main roster. Bring in Batista if he's not shooting God of War right now.
No. And I apologize to interrupt, Mr. Best, but we know that this is supposedly a fan-voted championship, so you don't necessarily have to win the match. Would you introduce something or reintroduce Cyber Sunday or a social media Saturday to this?
I think you could also, like, as we say, we're making this so, like, in our kind of what we're just throwing out here on the table, you could have multiple events in this as well. You could have an Evolve showcase and NXT just with the regular show, all leading up to this big moment. So as you were saying, though, MD, maybe on those shows we have like some qualifiers to get that hype for the tournament and all that. Hey, I always thought Cyber Sunday was a magnificent idea. Now, I'm expecting something like that because we know, it is all about that almighty dollar. So I'm expecting maybe potentially some perks with Club WWE, who Mr. Cena is a big-time pimp for. That's essentially the spokesman for that. So if you are a member, maybe that gives you the voting perks into an event like this, or you get those discounted prices that we're talking about. So they're going to finagle that in there a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you guys mentioned fan voting, and OMD, you mentioned that there was going to be a championship. What I would like to see, what I think that this tournament is actually going to do is, with the fan voting, I think it's going to let the WWE creative, like the guys behind the scenes, know who the fans want to be that top guy, or at least close to that top guy. And dare I say, I would like to see, like, if it's an NXT, if an NXT person wins their match or wins the tournament, maybe they get a spot in the Royal Rumble, or they get an actual call up or something like that. Just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this goes. I think we, when we do the PLE patrols, we should do this event.
Yeah.
That's my thought on that one.
Yeah,
moving on, guys.
I was going to say a lot of possibilities there, but I think we're all looking forward to it.
Yeah. But we got to move away from the WWE for a little bit, because AEW sprung some news on us last night, as AEW is breaking new ground in Europe. The company has officially announced AEW Grand Slam France, taking place Tuesday, October 6th at the Adidas Arena in Paris. The event will mark the first AEW live event ever held in France, and it won't be just a house show. Both Dynamite and Collision will be taped as part of Grand Slam France, giving French wrestling fans their first opportunity to experience a full AEW television live event. Tickets are scheduled to go on sale August 28th, so that would be this Friday, I think. My dates are messed up in my head.
Yes.
We know how hot that the France crowd can get, especially with the WWE and their recent tours over there. I'm excited for AEW to be doing this. It's kind of like them venturing out of their comfort zone. As we know, when they go to Europe, it's almost always they go to London and then they come back. So to see them venturing out of their comfort zone and expanding to France, that makes me excited for AEW as a whole there. Oh, RVD or RBV, you're not RVD. What are your thoughts on that?
I want to say kudos. All Elite Wrestling regularly talk about growing that bubble, reaching into new markets, trying to expand your fan base. They actually, when you get over to these European countries, major fans of All Elite Wrestling, of their style, what they bring to the table. We know it is proven. We've seen this with TKO, WWE, that there is a want, a desire, a hunger for professional wrestling around the globe. And the more markets that you can get into, the better, the more you're going to grow that promotion. Boots on the ground, grabbing more fans in. there is a major difference. If AEW is or isn't your style, there still is a major difference between watching it on television and going there live. I've been to a handful of their events, and while I'm not absolutely a major fan of their product or their television product, there is nothing that beats anywhere. You both gentlemen have worked in professional wrestling. On whatever level, there is nothing that beats the live event experience. And you cannot doubt Tony Khan's absolute passion for this business and wanting to thrive, wanting to put on the best show possible. I think this is a tremendous move for them. Shows that they are. I regularly knock them where I say WWE is an actual business, where AEW is just a wrestling company. This is actually a big business move for them, and hopefully they have tremendous success here to open it up to start touring more internationally and get into some of those big markets. And get into India, such a great grab. I know OMD lived down in Australia. Did you guys get a lot of wrestling down there from WWF back when you were living there? But I know AEW has been there a handful of times, but continue to grow that here into these different markets.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't remember that far back. And I might have been really not watching WWE because I was more focused on the culture, learning, being out in the sun because I was a kid and full of energy.
Right.
But yeah, like, I love this move for AEW, and we know that Europe is a hotbed of wrestling. We know that AEW loves to work with other independent promotions. So who are we going to see show up from promotions throughout Europe to wrestle on those shows? Grand Slam is a huge televised event for them. It's not even a pay-per-view for them. And they just finished Grand Slam Mexico, which, again, a huge market. And you're tapping into these markets because you see what these crowds have brought the other companies. I love this for AEW. I actually sat and watched all of AEW's programming last weekend, and I couldn't understand a lot of what was going on because there's no storytelling. So I'm hoping that they can give this crowd something. And whether that's Will Ospreay coming into France as your AEW champion, or are they going to boo the ever-loving hell out of Will Ospreay in France because of the battle with England?
Yeah, I myself, I don't have access to AEW right now, but I'm gonna find my way to watch this because the Grand Slam events always bring me to them. They always attract me, and mostly because when they did the first Grand Slam, I believe it was in New York City at that tennis stadium, and I thought that was just such an interesting setup. And as I watched the show, I'm like, who would have thought a tennis arena would have been great for a wrestling venue?
Yeah.
But now that I think more about it, like those tennis arenas could definitely be set up for pro wrestling, and I want to see how the France crowd reacts to everybody as far as this show goes. We know how they react to WWE. I know how they react to other European promotions that I've watched over the years. I want to see how they react to AEW and their product. So that's what's got me intrigued.
Yeah, that Grand Slam in Mexico was freaking incredible. The visuals there and the arena in Mexico. I mean, I just regularly like that, but that set was so incredible. The vibe, that energy was over the top. And I know that, a lot of people are like, oh, it was just a glorified house show. I thought the pacing was great. You knew what you were going to get. It was just Lucha Libre cranked up to 100, ripped the knob off, but I thought it was still a lot of fun. They only had one promo during it. I know a lot of people were on the stories against the storytelling. Sometimes with AEW, because it moves so fast in the ring, you miss it a little bit. You really got to keep your eye on it for that storytelling that they're going to set up in the match. But this France audience is going to be hungry for this. And I don't know, I know they're tremendous professional wrestling fans, but they seem to just really rally behind and just love that grand spectacle. Yeah. Big time events, maybe more so than here in North America. I don't know, how many they get over there. I mean, I know they've got huge soccer leagues and things like that. But even like when you look at when they have the Olympics there, I mean, they really, really get overly hyped for these big spectacle events.
I mean, when Backlash was in France just a couple of years ago, they treated it like it was WrestleMania.
Yeah. Well, as we've discussed on these shows, the European crowd gets the show once a year, once every 2 years, where we're accustomed to getting it 2 to 3 times a year. So they've got a lot more to give us.
I know Showstopper segment, we're going to be talking about events in Canada. I got some questions for you, Jim, in there. But when we look at these wrestling promotions and we look at where ticket sales are trending for live events, they're down in the States domestically for these companies. I don't, you guys can share later, how those crowds are in Canada. But when they go internationally, as OMD's saying, like every event has a Big Four feel to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's obvious. It's obvious that that crowd, they don't need help like we do as far as cheering the shows go on. But we here at the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, we do need that help.
A Turnbuckle Affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos, games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Turnbuckle Studios is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. And if you have ever wanted your break in podcasting, content creation, or to help us behind the scenes, hit that join button. Send us your credentials via email. Tell us how you can help us, how we can help you. We will sit down as a collective and find the right fit. All of that and so much more at turnbucklestudios.org.
Yeah, and up next, we've got some a little bit of distressing news, but exciting news at the same time, because, well, when we talk about a wrestler's departure, there's always that little bit of upset that the wrestler is leaving, but excited to see where they're going. And there could be some major changes happening to WWE's roster. First up, Bayley's future with the company remains uncertain. Reports indicate that Bayley has not signed a new WWE contract, with her current deal reportedly approaching its expiration. Old Uncle Dave there reported that Bayley has a decision to make regarding her future. Speculation has naturally included AEW. We know that she's been at AEW shows with her friend Mercedes Moné, but as of right now, Bayley has not left WWE and no AEW deal has been reported. But one departure that is confirmed, however, is that of Ilya Dragunov. Dragunov's WWE contract has expired, and he has left the company after reportedly deciding not to sign a new deal. WWE was said to have wanted Dragunov to stay, but ultimately he chose to move on. His profile has since been removed to the alumni section of WWE's website, officially ending a WWE run that began in 2019. Guys, Ilya Dragunov's run, I mean, the stuff that he was doing within the last year on the main roster was fantastic. And we were like, not even a week and a half ago, we were talking about the stuff we wanted to see him do. But now he's gone. Where do you guys see him moving on? RBD, I'm going to go to you on this one.
All right, so let's get to a few points that there is no denying. Absolutely on fire in NXT UK.
Oh, yeah.
Turned up the heat another level, the next level in NXT. The dude looks, he's stacked, he's jacked, he's got intensity for days. Absolutely looks incredible there. Looks like $1 million. Let's get to the reality of this.
Yeah.
I know if you're into movesets and rope work, this guy is right up your alley. But when it comes to the WWE red and blue main roster positions, let's get a little real with the conversation with the little dragon here. At stature, he's greatly undersized in there.
Oh, yeah.
That was very apparent as you see him into the ring, even against what we consider moderate-sized individuals in WWE. His style, they would give him 10 minutes. He was going out there and trying to squeeze 20 minutes of wrestling into his 10-minute bell to bell, curtain to curtain. just wasn't working. He moves entirely too fast. He was not selling. He wasn't allowing heels to get heat on him because he's trying to get everything in too quickly there. Overexposure with those open challenges, those don't do anyone a favor. I'm sorry. It's always been that way. You need to let us breathe for a week, give us a reason to get involved in something, which is another thing that I think greatly hurt him, and that was creative having no real feuds or direction for him. You're not going to get over in a WWE with a WWE audience being a wrestling machine. We need more. We need character. We need to connect with you on a different level. We need to get a feud to buy into. They didn't do any of that for him.
No.
Now, and what I mentioned with his style, that's not necessarily a knock. That's just saying it doesn't fit a WWE style. This dude is built. He is like a blueprint prototype for AEW. So he is someone I'm usually not for just TK going out there and just spending when he already has an overinflated roster he doesn't know what to do with. But this, you got to believe this has got to be an absolute grab for him.
Yeah. And before I get to you, OMD, I got Chris Parrish coming in here saying that there are actual reports now for Bailey indicating that she might have actually signed an extension as of last night on Monday, behind the scenes at Raw. OMD, over to you.
So I loved Ilya Dragunov. I loved the open challenge. It was typically the match of the night, but he was always getting busted open the hard way. Very reminiscent of Cody Rhodes in AEW, very reminiscent of Jon Moxley before he sobered up in AEW. I see two places because there were matches that WWE could have done with Dragunov that would have fit that style. If you would have kept the underground and let him work the underground, or Fight Pit. You put Dragunov and Riddle when Riddle was there in the Fight Pit. I see Dragunov probably more likely going to MLW, or I think the even better fit, and it would actually keep his foot somewhat in the door, is TNA. And I think that X division would be absolutely phenomenal and jacked with Dragunov getting added to it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from on that, on both your points there. Ilya Dragunov for me, like I did connect to Ilya, but I think I might have connected to him being a former wrestler and watching him work, and me being the big guy in the ring and working the small guys. I enjoyed working the smaller guys. But Ilya, you're right there, RBV, with Ilya Dragunov having the constant open challenges and no real set storyline. Although there was something with Trick Williams' former partner. Why is his name escaping me right
Carmelo?
now? Thank you, Carmelo Hayes. Yeah, there was something there, but that kind of just faded off into obscurity after their matches.
Well, it was because all of that got lost because for some reason they just took like their entire tag division and had them start challenging for the US championship in the open challenge. I mean, so it kind of hurt both divisions. And another thing with Dragunov, when he had that injury, why do we not have the foresight to show the intensity and determination of him on the comeback trail? Why are we not getting the vignettes ready regularly before he's back, he's a wrestling machine? No, show us the drive to get back to the ring.
Yeah.
That chip on his shoulder. I had an opportunity, I got injured, and he would talk like I hear people like RBV out there saying I'm undersized and I can't cut it here. But that motivates me. Then you show that. That's your connection before he ever gets back and starts wrestling. You just can't run people out like that. And that's where they're failing a lot of these NXT talents. So poor Sol Ruka, they did it to Bergirl. As they come up, the wrong mindset, and I think Dragunov falls into this, was, well, we're kind of out of things for them to do in NXT. They've done everything. We're just going to move them up. That's not the right mindset. You got to have a point and a direction for them. And that's why I'm so optimistic and looking forward to, we were talking before we went on air that we all popped for this thing, is when we saw OTM on Monday, because they have arrived with a point.
Yeah.
We don't know what that is yet, but we want to learn about it. And they look like they're ready to kick some butt there. And that looks like a freaking BA crew. that they're going to have there with Royce.
And that you again hitting the nail on the head there with letting us know who these wrestlers are. We got that with Big Cass. We got those vignettes that told us who he was coming back.
Don't even get me started on that crap.
Lola Vice got herself a vignette yesterday as well. So when she arrives, anybody who hasn't watched NXT or AAA, they're going to know who she is by the time she arrives as well. I think that's a lost art too, is the vignette. We need those. I would love to have like a 1 month vignette for the next NXT call up so that anybody who doesn't watch NXT knows who they are before they come up.
Yeah. But then there's the problem with overdoing the vignettes too.
Yeah.
Monroe.
Look at Blake Monroe.
Veer Mahan, he's still coming to Raw.
That's why I said 1 month. Do it 1 month. You got that's 2 episodes, or if you have them geared to a specific episode, 4 episodes. 4 vignettes, that's enough.
Real quick, can I throw in on Bailey real quick? Are we gonna?
Yeah, let's go. We got to go Bailey.
I want to say I want to put over Bailey. She is one of my favorite talents inside of WWE. I think when we lay out a resume and we are going down the checkbox of everything it takes to be successful, to be what we consider good to great in professional wrestling, your ring work, your bell to bell, your storytelling, your character, your ability to adapt and change, to stay relevant, to connect with an audience. I think Bailey is the most talented across the board of the 4 horsewomen. Now, I would say like Charlotte's the better wrestler. Like others might be good in certain things, but when we go down the entire checklist of what we want out of a professional wrestler, I think she is the best of the 4. I'm glad if she's going to get a new deal here with WWE, stay where she's at. I mean, she's WWE. She's always going to be that. Now, if I was her, there's going to be a lot of interest. You can say, hey, Mercedes, ask TK to show me the money. Hey, if anybody, Mercedes knows how to get those big checks out of Tony Khan. So he listens to her. So if Mercedes is saying, hey, as soon as she's available, we're going to, me and her could go out there and revolutionize women's wrestling. Just imagine what we did, handcuffed by WWE. Tony, if we got your mind, your freedom, she's going to be smooching up to his butt there to try to get her friend a sweet deal. Take that money. But if she's staying with WWE, I think that's tremendous. I think that there is so much more that she can give to this business. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that she needs to be a champion again or dominate that division. Yeah. You gentlemen know this. Most important roles are going to be coaching and helping sculpt and grow the next generation. And someone like Bailey, who's had a little bit of experience in the indies, but essentially is a homegrown that understands their current system, that can help these greenhorns, these that are coming over from their name, image, like this, from their next in line program. These people like that we've seen just come out of college, a Soul, a Tiffy. Bailey is going to be the leader of that generation. So I'm hoping she's getting taken care of, and she's very happy in whichever choice that she makes.
Yeah. Personally, I don't think Bailey is going anywhere. I didn't think this issue with Lyra Valkyria was done, but now Valkyria seems to have moved on because of the delay in Bailey's contract. Honestly, I would love to see, you talked about it, Bailey coaching. Let her go to NXT and TNA and be that litmus test for all of these up-and-comers. Let Bailey go to TNA and wrestle Elena Black. Let her go and wrestle Xia Brookside for that Knockouts title. Let her go to NXT and challenge, I'm not even sure who the NXT Women's Champion is. She doesn't have to win it, but she can make sure that they're ready and say to Sean and to Hunter, these girls are now ready.
Kendall Gray is your NXT Women's Champion.
That little girl can go too. She's pretty damn good, bell to bell.
But RBV, I think I once again hitting it on the head this week.
You know what I really hit? I hit the marks.
Yeah, you're hitting the marks. When Charlotte, Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch all got the call up, we were like, "Where's Bailey? Where's Bailey? Why didn't she get called up?" There's a reason why. They let her cook down in NXT on her own, and right now we're kind of in that situation right now where NXT call-ups, some of them are a little bit too soon, but letting them cook in NXT like they did with Bayley, they did it with Roxanne Perez. She came up to that main roster and she was a star already. And to be honest, when I heard that her contract was coming up, I was like, please, Bayley, don't leave. Please, Bayley, don't leave, because I too am a gigantic fan of hers. I want Bayley on everywhere. I want Bayley on all the shows if I could.
I mean,
like when she showed up in AAA some months ago, I was like, yeah,
and she was having a blast down there.
Yeah.
When you've got Natty mentoring Nikita Lyons, who honestly I've never been a big fan of, and Carmen Petrovic. Now you imagine her and Bayley mentoring that NXT women's division, that TNA Knockouts division, as well as AAA, because they've both done that as well. That is absolutely huge.
Yeah. So sad to see Ilya gone, but happy to see that Bayley has reportedly re-signed. The question is, and I've got a bold prediction right here that I'm going to make with her. Where does she go? I can already say, I'm going to say War Games, because I don't, as OMD pointed out, the stuff with Lyra, not quite finished, but everything that seems to be going on with what's going on with the women over on Raw, to me, it's leading to a War Games match, and Bayley, I think you could return her at War Games.
Absolutely, they kind of left they kind of booked that match where it could be the close of the story or just another chapter beginning.
Yep, but speaking of chapters, we got a bunch of chapters here, a bunch of programming to check out here at Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. Take a look, guys.
TurnBuckle Studios and the TurnBuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday night, we are on call as the Raw Patrol is on duty at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, TurnBuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday, we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursdays, let us power your dreams with the Xbox Showcase at 9 p.m. Friday, we invite you to come for a ride with the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday, be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later in the day, the Locker Room presents Wrestling Recap delivers at 7 p.m. Always be aware that weekend shows can vary in times, as the PLE Patrol and other watch party streams are always a must-see. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day, and watch all of the latest episodes on turnbucklestudios.org/shows. And please do not forget to drop a like, follow, and to subscribe to all of our channels, and when the time is right, all you have to do is tap in.
Just tap that. Sorry.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, and there is something for you each and every night of the week, and you can find those under the shows section. But we want you to meet the team behind those shows. Mr. Best, myself, Bubba Duke, Logan Thompson, Chris Parrish, and the Godfather, Carl Carafel. Click on our individual links to get our socials and watch our latest weekly live episodic shows. And please, head over to the Hameen Media Group and check out the Hitting the Marks podcast with RBV.
I was going to say, not just a godfather, just a good father. Congratulations there, Carl. They had their big reveal party. Was that last week? They got another little one on the way. Congratulations to him. Awesome stuff there. I know you guys got some awesome stuff coming your way. You guys are excited. A little live wrestling action coming north of the border.
Yeah, that's our showstopper segment, guys. The NXT crew is coming to Canada for the first time since 2019, guys. In just a bit here, so just give me 1 second. Yeah, WWE NXT is heading back to north of the border for the first time in 7 years. NXT will embark on a Canadian live event tour this October with 3 consecutive nights across Ontario and Quebec. The tour begins Thursday, October 15th at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium in Kitchener, Ontario. One night later, Friday, October 16th, NXT heads north to the Sudbury Community Arena in Sudbury. OMD and I will be at that show. And the Canadian swing concludes Saturday, October 17th at the Slush Puppy Center in Gatineau, Quebec.
Yes.
That name is that I'm gonna laugh at that name every time I hear it now. All three events are currently scheduled to begin at 7:30 p.m. Local time, and it's been 7 years since NXT last toured Canada. This is huge for us here, because for Sudbury, especially our city, the city of Sudbury there, sure, it's been since 2019, but for Sudbury, it's been 22 years since they had a WWE event. So,
yeah. And you know what? I was at that last show in Sudbury, which happened to be the SmackDown Red, White, and Bruised tour when Kurt Angle was the GM with Luther Reigns. And that show took place on July 4th.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, they're out of the States on our birthday traveling up through Canada. That's a little fun little tidbit there.
And yes, Kurt Angle showed up in his wheelchair that night, and Luther Reigns competed. But this is absolutely huge. I wish it would have been a little bit bigger a tour, but I'm wondering if this is just, are they scouting ahead? Because we know that NXT comes from a smaller venue in Orlando. Is that what they are looking at with this, to really take NXT on the road?
I think that what they're doing is they're testing the market again, because they've only recently started going back to doing live events here. So I think they're giving a feel for the market here, because tickets are considerably cheap, especially for the Sudbury show. But RBB, I'd like to hear an American's opinion on this move.
Well, first for the NXT talents, we've regularly heard, especially somebody like Soul, who it was so obvious that she needed more reps, maybe more of that on-the-road experience before getting that call-up, as she's kind of struggled in that transition. So getting away from the Performance Center, from Florida, absolutely a major positive for all these talents. Just to get into the role of the travel, just, not just working a live crowd, but, it's going city to city. The travel, all of those little details that go into it. But a different crowd, someone that's just not accustomed, that's the regulars week in, week out that you're used to in your home base. And when you go a little bit international here, a very, very energized, excited Canadian crowd is what you're going to get. You guys have talked about it. It's been so long, I especially since Sudbury there. It's been almost forever since they've had an event. They are going to be hungry. And even though it's just development, they are going to be like rabid dogs. They're going to be looking to have a blast, and it's going to be a lot of fun, an incredible environment. If anybody has an opportunity to check those out, I was telling you guys before we went on air, NXT is like an adrenaline-packed indie show where it's not the big feel of WWE, which is impressive itself in a its own way there, but this has a much down-to-earth, at-home feel, like where you feel really up close and all that, with the action, with the talents, what's going on there. You're probably looking anywhere 5,000, 8,000 at these venues. So it's not overwhelming with the crowd, but it's just big enough to create an amazing environment that you're going to remember forever. These talents are going to appreciate. Absolutely in there. I did look into this. I saw you guys, right when you guys had sent me the run today, I had the news on, and they were talking about a little beef. Maybe the main event might be America versus Canada, a little beef with our tariffs. And I was just sitting there, saying, man, what if this would affect any kind of live events from American companies going into Canada? So the good news for you guys, doesn't look like there would be any kind of, because there could have been things with getting equipment across the border, but I'm pretty sure that WWE TKO has all their stuff stationed. They got outlets there to use that, so they don't have to worry about that. Human art products, essentially. Physical products, so you don't have to worry about things going in and out of the country. So go out, have a great time with it. Slush Puppy Arena, heck yeah. Sign me up for that. A large slush puppy. They tell you 4 squirts. No, the hell with that. You're on that pump 20, 25 times to get that juice in there for a good old slush puppy. I like to mix mine. I like cherry and grape mixed together.
But the ticket prices, that's what surprised me the most, because obviously we've talked about how expensive ticket prices have been ad nauseum. The ticket prices for the Sudbury show go from $27 to $83. And that's before taxes. And I'm like, dang, that's cheap. I'm going.
I wonder, to be interesting to keep an eye on this thing is they do continue to add live events, house shows, as us old school dogs like to call them. But how does this affect the overall curve inside the TKO business model? Like, are they recognizing that boom that they had there is that bubble bursting, as we've seen, especially domestically here or across North America, these big events, these overpriced events, they're seeing declines. I mean, it was almost embarrassing. WrestleMania and SummerSlam. I mean, they were so embarrassed by SummerSlam, they didn't even announce their attendance figures.
Right. And that's one of the things I've read on, like, under Vince McMahon's regime. The reason why the house shows were around was to keep the ticket prices for all the major events down as well. Vince was still raking in the dollars. And I think that's where TKO realized, okay, cutting out these house shows, we got to jack up the prices for Raw, for SmackDown, for WrestleMania and all that. And they're realizing, oh, wait, that was not such a good move.
Yeah. And I mean, we also know there is a huge differential in the Canadian dollar to the American dollar. So the exchange rate does play a factor. And I'm going to be legit. I've got a second row seat because the tickets went on sale last Wednesday. I happened to get a pre-sale code watching NXT last Tuesday night. And I booked my ticket. Yes, I paid $113 Canadian to sit second row. That's nothing.
Dude, $1,300 is nosebleed for like a Big Four or something like
Right?
that.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to argue. And, it's a night out. Yes, I've got to do a turn and burn to get back to work the next morning. So drive 4 hours one way, do the show, and hit the road at 10:30 at night to get back home. Oh, well, so be it. I go to work tired the next day.
But regardless, guys, like, get out there, get those tickets and enjoy the show, because I know I want to. I'm looking at myself almost 16 years since I last went to a WWE show. However, as you mentioned, RBV, going to any kind of wrestling live event, it doesn't matter if it's WWE, AEW, TNA, AAA, whatever wrestling. Local indies, go to them, because you are in for a wild ride regardless of where you go.
Well, and the other thing I'm going to ask, because I know there's a significant amount of time, but we've got TNA in Brampton, Ontario this weekend. Do we get any of that partnership coming with NXT?
That's a possibility, but we've got to wrap it up here, guys, because with it, I got a closing question to ask everybody who's watching this show. With NXT returning to Canada after 7 years, could the response to these 3 shows convince WWE to bring NXT to even more Canadian cities in the future? Fingers crossed on my hometown. On that note, OMD, what are those words we like to go out on?
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we remind you, the world is better with you in it. From all of us here at TurnBuckle Talk and the TurnBuckle Affiliation Program, to those of you out there wherever you are, good night, good luck, we out.
Flagship show setting the tone. In the world of wrestling we stand alone. With news and reviews we lead the way. TurnBuckle Talk every day. TurnBuckle Talk every day.